I can remember the first time I drank. They were 40s of Old English, and I liked the way I felt the first time. I liked the way I felt. I felt relaxed, and it progressed from there. It came to the point where I drank every day when I was in high school. When I realized that I had an issue with drinking, I went to pills. I started out with Hydro 10s. It went from Hydro 10s, those weren't enough, and I went to oxycodone 30s. I started out just as fun, recreational use, and then it got to the point where I got addicted to them. It wasn't even fun using them anymore. It was, I had to have the pills or else I couldn't function. I remember waking up in the mornings and I'd literally take 10 to 20 Hydro 10s, depending on how many I had and how many I could take. That was just to get me through school, and school was only a few hours a day. I ended up getting a girlfriend that used meth and heroin. For the first months, I remember I would beg her to stop using, and I'd go to sleep and she would be there, and I remember I'd wake up in the morning, she'd be gone. I ran out of pills, and I was going through withdrawals, and I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't handle going through withdrawals. That I'd asked my girlfriend if we could get heroin and I could do heroin. I needed the fix. I couldn't feel like that. I didn't want to feel like that. The first time I ever shot heroin, I shot it up in my arm. From the day that I started using heroin, there was never a day that I did not use heroin. I did that for a steady 6 months, and at that point, I ran out of heroin, and I started going through withdrawals. I remember I tried to get some, and it fell through. I needed to do something. I'm going through withdrawals. First time I ever used meth, I had shot it up in my arm, and just like with heroin and all the other drugs, I used it every day. I was full on using it, and there was nothing that was going to stop me from using it. I was at a friend's house that didn't allow heroin to be in her house. So I went in the bathroom, I locked the door, I shot it up, and I tried to stand up once, and I kind of fell back down, and I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And I went to go stand up again, and that's when I blacked out. I don't remember anything. I woke up in the living room of that same house, had a knot on my head, and I didn't even think anything of it. There was a person in there. She told me that you overdosed. It didn't even faze me. It didn't even cross my mind to stop or anything. I went right back to using drugs. I was at a park with a girl that I knew, and she had heroin, which is it's a downer, and I had meth. It's an upper, it's a stimulant, and when you mix them together, it's called a goofball. I had never really done one. She did them all the time, so she mixed them together. We split the heroin. When she went and used hers, made sure she was okay, and then when I used mine, I remember I got done shooting it up, and then I handed her the needle. I started driving. It was within 30 seconds that I had blacked out. I ended up crashing my car. I woke up getting put in an ambulance. I had no idea what was going on. They ended up taking me to the hospital. They ran the blood work, and when I left, I thought I was free to go, and they ended up taking me to jail. They put me in the back of the car, and I was talking to the cop because, I can't be mad at him. That was when I found out that same cop was at the scene when I had got my DUI and crashed because I had overdosed. He had said that when they arrived, they didn't even think they were going to have to book me into Benton County Jail. When they arrived, I was pronounced dead. I was kind of shocked, but I went to jail. I got out a few weeks later, and again, I went back to using drugs. It got to the point where I got hit with 4 felonies in 2 days. I continued to use. I went to my court dates high. I did everything I did. I still got high. I can't say that there was an ultimate low for me that made me stop, because every day was low. I went to a drug rehab that was in Michigan State. It was a long-term treatment. I had left early. I had left to come back and take care of my court. I had met up with an old acquaintance. She'd asked if I wanted to come to church. I had said, yeah, I'd check it out. I wanted to explore that. That was the first time that I had visited HungryGen. It was really awkward. Everybody was praying out loud with no background in church or relationship with God. I didn't know how to pray. I knew nothing about the Bible. I knew nothing about anything that they were talking about. I was attending church on a regular basis. There for a little while, I kind of fell off. People reached out to me. It was like I wanted to come to church. I wanted to have a relationship with God. I wanted to be able to pray. I wanted to be able to, I wanted to be hungry for God. And it took me a while. It was nothing that just clicked for me. It was nothing that changed overnight. Just like I was full on with drugs, I wanted to be full on with God and know God's word, my relationship with God. And so that's when I decided to get baptized. I decided to come to morning prayer. I decided to make a commitment to God that I was going to seek God. Since then, my life has never been the same. I never thought God would bring me such a satisfaction. My name is Astley, and this is my testimony.